South Baltic family and friends. My name is Małgorzata Skolmowska, and I have the great pleasure to lead you through today's event. This year's Interreg South Baltic annual event differs from the previous factual meeting due to pandemic restrictions we all faced. But on the other hand, we are very pleased that thanks to the online character of this event, we were able to gather what I see almost 150 participants. We gathered here on the occasion of South Baltic Annual Event 2020, but also to celebrate 30 years of Interreg and European Cooperation Day. In regards to Interreg 30th birthday, we would like to show you a short movie produced on this occasion by Interreg.
We have worked together for the past 30 years, empowering you and your neighbors, always finding richness in our differences and opportunities in our challenges. Nothing will stop us from continuing that work, because together we can overcome everything. This year we celebrate 30 years of cooperation and over 27,000 projects. We want to celebrate with you our success and our future together. Together, for all of us. We have
Yes, today we are going to hear a lot about impact of Interreg funds on small regions, but without anticipating the facts, I would like to ask for the official opening by Magdalena Bednarczyk-Sokół, Deputy Director of the Territorial Cooperation Department in the Ministry of Development Funds and Regional Policy of Poland, which is the managing authority in our program. Magdalena, please.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear program partners and dear project partners, dear friends of the South Baltic family. On behalf of the Managing Authority, I warmly welcome you at the virtual annual event. I'm delighted to welcome such honorable guests, national coordinators, representatives of the regions, local authorities and beneficiaries from all 5 countries involved in the South Baltic Programme. I would like to also welcome the representatives of our program institutions. I'm really glad to see you all virtually, despite difficult circumstances of COVID-19. I really regret that we do not have a chance to see in person, but I do strongly believe that it won't be for us an obstacle to have a fruitful discussion and to exchange opinions and ideas about our cross-border cooperation. And taking the opportunity to have the voice, I would like to kindly thank the Museum of Bornholm and Interreg Viborg for cooperation in organizing this annual event. Additionally, please let me thank the contact point on Bornholm, especially Mr. Niels Chresten Andersen, for all your support in arranging this meeting and your support, personal involvement in the implementation of our joint program. Niels, many thanks for that, and it's good to have you in our team. This is the exceptional year for the Interreg programs because we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the cooperation, Interreg cooperation, and we think that it's a good time to look back somehow and discuss what we have already achieved, jointly achieved in the European Union, but also what we achieved in our South Baltic region. We are strongly convinced that Interreg programs, Interreg cooperation is a great and helpful tool to solve common problems, but we also see as a great tool to jointly respond to social and economical challenges across borders, including sea borders. Together, we are implementing many great projects which present a huge added value to cross-border cooperation. Our partners are many kilometers far away from each other, but they easily can find partners who faces the same problems, and they actively work together, and by exchanging knowledge and experience help each other. We see that each project contributes to building a recognizable brand of the South Baltic region. But what we need more is your support in promoting our achievements. Therefore, I only encourage you and your partners to promote your effects of your activities, both within the region and outside our region. This annual event will be an also great opportunity to have a discussion concerning future dimension of cross-border cooperation in our program. We should think about the direction in which the South Baltic area is heading. And thanks to the Joint Programming Committee works and analysis provided, we have started to shape our new program. And now we are working on potential fields for cooperation. But we strongly need the voice of project beneficiaries, because we believe that it brings the valuable input to the works, to the future works. This is our third joint perspective. Now, as we are more experienced, we better know each other. We are also more aware of our cross-border needs and the ways of effective cooperation. I'm sure we will do our best to create a great, effective platform for such a cooperation, also for the next programming perspective. Dear friends, dear ladies and gentlemen, I wish you inspiring discussions. I do hope that it will be a great time for you, and many greetings from Warsaw, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Director, for your warm welcoming words. My name is Dominika Budkiewicz, and I am head of the Joint Secretariat. Dear guests, dear project partners, program bodies, dear friends of the Interreg South Baltic Programme. Today we celebrate 30 years of the Interreg, and at the same time annual event of the South Baltic Programme. Current year gives all of us new challenges and new experiences due to the coronavirus pandemic. We have to learn how to work and live differently. The program and project partners face changes in the implementation routines, and together we work on suitable solutions. Personally, the Joint Secretariat miss face-to-face meetings with you, close cooperation, and inspirational talks during events we all remember from the past years. In this new reality, I am very happy that so many participants decided to join this webinar. I kindly welcome you. Up to date, 91 projects, including seed money, are co-financed by the program with around 78 million euro. All seed money projects and 24 regular projects are now finalized with tangible results.
The program is today at the last stage of its performance and looks into the future with enthusiasm and positive attitude. After 3 meetings of the Joint Programming Committee, the works and decisions speed up, and I believe that soon we will see first picture of the new South Baltic Programme. This year, the Programme Monitoring Committee decided to spend savings generated by the finalized projects for mini-call applications, which is going to be opened before end of the year. Subsequently, seed money calls will be launched in 2021. I warmly invite you to follow program website and social media. I wish you new positive experience and of course, stable internet connection during this webinar. Now I give the voice to Jakob Björring Hansen, Director of the Museum of Bornholm, who will host project exhibition initiated by the Interreg as a part of 30 years Interreg celebration. Let's now connect with Iceland of Bornholm. Jakob, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Greetings to you all, wherever you sit and watch this webinar. Due to this very special circumstances with the COVID-19, we have had a little issues with hosting the panel discussion, which should have been on the museum today with Niels Chresten Andersen as the panel leader of that. So instead, this will be virtual as well. The exhibition itself is opening in a day or two. Behind me, we have a little bit of the posters, which also is a presentation of many of the activities going on in the Interreg around the Baltic Sea. So I guess you cannot see it here, but we'll make sure that it's also available virtual online on our website. So with this a little bit unfortunate circumstances in this webinar, we'll just make sure that we'll also, in a minute or two, you'll hear from my colleague who participated in the archaeological project Archaeobelt that connected archaeotourism around the Baltic. So this is a very exciting project, and luckily before we were hit by the COVID-19, we had very good results with thousands of visitors on the island, on the excavations, and a very positive projects. We look forward to continuing that project when this pandemic is hopefully soon over. The Baltic history is a very big resource, in my belief, for future tourism and cooperation. Has not always been peaceful, but it has been common, and I hope that will be the joint mission the coming years, to make that common history known to everybody. So thank you from Bornholm. Thank you for letting us participate in the program. And I'll give the word now to Niels Chresten Andersen, head of the local contact point here on Bornholm. He will be now taking care of the panel discussion. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jakob. Gosha, should you come in here with something? No?
No, the floor or the screen is totally yours.
Okay, I will take over from here. Thank you very much to Jakob from our museum. Well, I have the honor to moderate these two panel discussions we will have. And the topic of this first panel discussion will be the impact of European funds on small regions, which most of us are. Case studies of the South Baltic Programme's projects. Well, first of all, let me introduce the panelists. We have up in the right corner, on my screen at least, Mr. Thomas Meyer Sørensen from DTU, from the CAR project. We'll come back to the project later. And we also have somewhere in the middle, David Andreas Niels Chresten from our waste management company. He's running around in this waste management place. You can see some background also with the different kind of waste things. Well, we'll come back to that, David. And
hi,
also,
everybody.
and we have Nick Caretta from the museum. You have replaced Jakob. Welcome to you also, Nick. And if you are from the Arkeobalt project, and I forgot to say that David is from the Waste Man project. And we have René Wilson also somewhere. So yes, great. Hi, René. And you are from the project Baltic Museums Love, not it, but Love IT. And you are from Natur Bornholm Center. And also we have up in the left corner on my screen, we have Frede Danborg from Gullborgsund Municipality.
Hello.
And hello, Frede. And you are representing the Interconnect project. So this means we have 5 panelists besides me, representing 5 of our, as Dominika said, 91 projects, including the seed money projects, and granted by this program we have now. The overall question for the panel discussion will be, does it matter? Do we make a change? So Thomas, so I will start with you. You are representing the Danish Technical University, DTU, in the car project. And it says creating automotive renewal, the car. And it's a project focusing on use of electric vehicles in our regions. So Thomas, do you have an electric vehicle?
I absolutely do, yes.
Yeah, great, good. And could you shortly tell us your and DTU's role in the project, please?
Absolutely. I mean, shortly, we've been doing projects on the island of Bornholm since 2008, pretty much. But the role specifically in car is on getting more electric vehicles to the island of Bornholm. And very specifically, we've been helping with getting more chargers up on the island.
Yes, and you informed me that you have had several projects. I don't know the number, but it seems you have 10, 15 projects in this area, and a lot of them with Bornholm, yes?
That's correct.
So you're quite experienced.
I would say yes, and that's of course not all with regards to electric vehicles. That's with smart energies and renewable energy supply, etc.
Yeah. Now, which other regions are involved besides Bornholm?
Well, we do have participants from Germany, Poland, Sweden, and Denmark. So Bornholm was a rather obvious choice. That's pretty much right in the middle.
I agree with you very much. What do you see? Because this is very much about, does it matter? Now, getting more electric cars, I think loading stations and whatever. Can you see and can you point out the main impact of the project in the participating regions, please?
Absolutely. In my head, it's the collaboration between the municipality, the utilities, BF, and then us as a university.
The BF, sorry, Thomas, BF is our energy and supply company, right?
Correct.
Public, sorry.
Yeah. And that's rather unique seen across the world. So normally it would be rather tricky to get things like the car project done, because the municipality has made a rather unique work when they have this, what we call the Bornholmer model. Pretty much the municipality pays for the infrastructure below the ground, and then anybody can come via a tender and have the charger set up on top. And that's rather unique, and it makes it extremely flexible and very facilitating regarding getting a lot of chargers up on Bornholm. So that would be, in my head, the main outcome.
Okay, great. So this means that normal people with electric vehicles, they will be able to load the cars. How many places on Bornholm?
Well, regarding the charger setup in Bornholm, it's currently around 11. The number might be increasing, but we're working on that. And it's different kind of chargers. It's AC chargers and DC chargers. So both what you would normally call slow charging and fast charging. But rather importantly, they're very well distributed around the island. I mean, the municipality did a great job of finding spots where the chargers would fit in. And that means that the FDM, that's the Danish Car Association, who actually puts up the chargers, had a very easy job of putting up the chargers afterwards.
Mm. And the car project is not only about these investments, and it's for sure not investing in all 11 places, but it's also about a regional strategy. This is not just about the citizens, it's also about the visitors, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, Bornholm is extremely interesting because it has the potential to go 100% renewable when it comes to energy. It's around approximately 1% of the Danish population that lives on Bornholm. So because it's an island, it's extremely interesting. It can be scaled up to a complete Danish context. And that makes the impact of the results gained from this project quite huge.
Okay. Well, I'll go further to the next one. Thank you very much, Thomas. Maybe we'll come back to you. There might be some questions because we have got some questions due to the registration, which Gosha will inform us about later. And also maybe you will have questions on the chat box, which you are welcome. I know Gosha and the colleagues will keep an eye on that. So now we will turn to you, David, in BOFA, which you are representing, and it's about waste management. And BOFA is a kind of municipal company on Bornholm and involved in this waste man project. Could you, David, try shortly to describe the main idea of the waste man project and which regions are involved?
Absolutely. Is my audio coming through okay?
Yes, great.
Yes. The idea with the Wasteman project is to implement integrated and sustainable waste management solutions to deal with pollution and to deal with ensuring effective recycling rates in the South Baltic region. And we have partners in Poland and Denmark and in Lithuania in the project.
Okay. And some of the activities you are doing, I know because I read our daily newspaper and also hear the media. You are very promoted the project in Bornholm, several whole pages information. And I have read that you are doing some concrete activities in 2 locations, 2 villages, we might say, right, David?
This is correct. Yeah, we're really happy to have very good local exposure in the media on the project. This is a big bonus for the project. The idea on Bornholm with Wasteman is to test out through a living labs approach, shared waste collection systems, a new way of gathering waste in households that are participating in the living labs. And yes, it's correct. We've chosen Gudhjem and Persker. These are 2 towns in Bornholm that have been pinpointed as our living lab sites. And what you see behind me, the reason why I'm outside, other than the fact that it's a lovely day on Bornholm with blue skies.
It's always a lovely day here.
It's a sunshine island, as they say. What you see behind me is a couple of the prototypes that we intend to test out as part of the living labs. The unique part of Wasteman and the approach to shared waste collection systems on Bornholm is the way that we've done it together with citizens in a co-design process. So we spend a lot of energy in the project talking with citizens and showing ideas, bouncing ideas back and forth with them. And this has eventually materialized into what we see behind us today as an example of one of the things we want to test out. And these are mobile shared waste collection points. This could be an interesting crossover with Thomas's project at some point in the future. At some point, maybe we hope that fully self-autonomous vehicle technology could be implemented. And why not combine that with the idea of a waste bin? So maybe you can call it on your app and maybe it arrives at your doorstep. Maybe you don't have to move to the waste collection point. Maybe it may have to move to you. And so, but that's the idea in the future. We have a very analog, low-tech, non-self-autonomous vehicle at the moment, but that's what we're testing in the project.
So there are 10 categories, yes?
They are, yeah. I think we're missing, this is an interesting point you bring up because the Danish government recently said that all Danish households at all municipalities from next year have to sort at household level 10 waste fractions. And so we've tried to be very preemptive in that respect by targeting as many of these factions as possible. And we have most of them here that we have in a prototype. So the idea is you come up as a household, you actually, instead of putting in the code here, you actually have a chip, and you open it up with your chip and you deposit the waste. And the living lab will be about testing not only what kind of purity rates, what kind of waste we get out of it, and how many, how good it is, how can we recycle it, but also is it something that provides value to citizens and the households that are participating.
Okay, but yesterday I had to get rid of a big old sofa, and I can see a small problem here with this.
I don't think it can fit, no.
Okay, good. Okay, David, we'll come back to you later. Thank you so far. No, I have one more question, David, because BOFA, like Thomas informed us about several projects, but BOFA is also quite active in several projects, yes, besides South Baltic.
Yes, we do participate in other Interreg projects. We're luckily to be blessed with being able to participate in Interreg projects using the Kattegat-Skagerrak ÖKS region. We're also trying to apply for Horizon projects. So we're doing a lot of European project activities. We're trying to find synergies in between them. And also, I should mention that BOFA and Bornholm has a very ambitious target to be waste-free by 2032. What you see behind me is a waste incineration plant chimney, smokestack, and that is set to be decommissioned by 2032. By that time, all waste on the island is set to be reused or recycled, and landfilling is to be not an option anymore. So we really have to, we highly prioritize European projects in order to help us achieve that target.
So the project are complementing other projects, which is one big issue in our programs, the Interreg program. You are very close to the citizens, involving very much directly in this co-design, and you have a clear link to the regional strategy about 2032. Great to hear. Okay, I will go to Nick now from the museum, because Jakob already informed us, Nick, about the Arkeobalt project, which you are and the museum are involved in. It's a project combining archaeology with sustainable tourism. And could you, Nick, say a few words about the cross-border aspect of the project, but also, of course, what's in it on Bornholm? A more concrete description, please.
The idea behind this is just try to boost the economy of the island and the area by connecting a history that is behind the connection of the South Baltic places that we have as archaeological sites. Archaeology has not been exploited as such in this region, so we're trying to make a connection along this area and try to use a history in common, try to see what can be something that can support an idea and bring people something that might be of their interest, see how archaeologists work, how the histories are connected in many ways, and try to promote it not only from their own countries, but how we are connecting it through new technologies. For example, try to show what our colleagues are doing at the same time in Poland or in Sweden.
And these are the regions where you have the partners from, yes? Poland and Sweden.
Our partners are from the University of Dansk and the Historical Museum of Dansk, the University of Aarhus and the University of Lund. So these are the partners that we are working on this project. And we are trying to have this project that is basing mostly tourism on archaeology. So that is the basic idea behind this. And obviously, this brings a lot of concepts that have been not used before in this part of Europe.
Okay. Nick, what concrete outputs will there be on a place like Bornholm for our region?
In Bornholm in particular, the idea is to open up a center on the archaeological site that might be working the whole year through. Obviously, because of weather conditions in Denmark and in Bornholm, excavations only take place during a certain period of time. So we cannot extend it the rest of the year. But by working on the archaeological center, people can be doing the same activities, but on a, well, they will not have the excavation itself, but they will have all the other process that archaeology normally carries out after they finish excavation. So it's possible to visit these places, it's possible to interact with the archaeologists, it's possible to be part of these processes that take place as an attraction. The other thing related to this is that we're going to be projecting 3D images. We're going to be working with virtual reality so people can also see what we were doing on the site itself. The idea of using 360 degrees cameras, for example, could be something that might allow the people to bring out their gadgets, place it on the direction where the excavation was taking place, and see the excavations and the archaeologists giving them the explanation of what was going on. So we're trying to add new technologies to this process to have something that might be working most of the year.
When the idea about ArchaeoBalt came up, my own reaction, and later on my colleagues in the monitoring committee, was a little bit surprised. Archaeology, tourism. What I was surprised was the number of visitors you attract, and not only from the South Baltic area. You are getting tourists, professors, students, and many others from all over the world, right?
Yes. 2019 was our test year, was the time in which we implemented the project, and we were about to see how this worked on the first year. Obviously, being the first time, we needed to be testing new ideas, new concepts, how to control things. But it turned out to be very good. We got over, at least on 3 months fully, we got over 2,300 visitors. And that was only on the island. Poland registered a higher number on their place, and Lund already has a tradition of doing this, so their numbers were bigger. In our case, the number of visitors was very important because we could see that there were only non-national people, but also international visitors, and also the participation of schools. Schools was also one of our main targets because we wanted to provide information and create interest on the new generations. So that was very important for us. And the covering we have over our event was also very important. The dissemination that was given to this was very nice. And even at the beginning of this year, there was a television program which was focused on the site. It was called Gods and Gold, and it was transmitted by the national television. The program was done by the local TV station, TV2, and it was pretty welcome.
Yes, just like the Wasteman, you have a lot of promotion and media coverage, we know, in different media, so that's fantastic. And now all South Baltic regions are fantastic places, we know. But again, we are trying to promote Bornholm a little bit, because when we talk about archaeology, there are something special about Bornholm. I know the biggest European faculty in Warsaw are very interested in Bornholm. Can you shortly explain what makes Bornholm special here?
Well, the island has a long history and a long tradition of archaeology in itself. We have settlements from the Neolithic all the way up to the present. So we have actually the whole coverage of archaeology. We have from ancient times, we go to Bronze Age, Iron Age, Vikings, we got medieval, we have historical archaeology, and we have industrial archaeology. So we have everything that we could have within a controllable area. And many of the items that have been found here are unique. The National Museum has been getting some of this material that can be presented and can be shown as some of the cream of the crop of the archaeology of the country. Some of them are the gold cooper, these gold figurines that have been found on the island, and particularly on the site that we've been digging. And for example, the closest country that has these figurines is Sweden. They have over 130 30 items, and we have right now over 2,800 of these elements. So that gives you more or less an idea.
Great. And that means that the project somehow also can contribute to the South Baltic identity because there are a lot of links to the neighboring region as well, right?
Exactly. That's
great. Thank you very much, Nick. We will turn to René and Natur Bornholm. And René, you were in this project, I said, the Baltic Museums Love IT. And could you start to tell us which regions are involved in the project?
Yeah, well, we've got Denmark and Sweden, Poland, Germany, and Lithuania. This is the part, so there are 9 partners from these countries, and then we got 8 external partners. And there we got Russia and 2 more countries.
As associated
partners, yes, sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
So it's rather big.
So what's the idea? It's something about IT, and I know that you are sitting all day with some small games, yes, on your computer or mobile, yeah?
I develop it, yeah. Not that I'm gaming. I let the...
No, okay.
But yeah, but sometimes I do. Yeah. But yes, developing sort of a gamified experience, or how to explore a museum in a new way. There's been a tradition in like many art museums that you have an audio guide, you can walk around and listen. But most of the places involved in this project are museums where you have the major thing is interacting with your family and get new experience, get experience together. So you can't really use the audio guide because that isolates you from the rest of the people you're among. So we tried to develop something, and for 2 basic reasons really, because we are in a region that are very seasonal. So for example, my attraction, Natur Bornholm, is closed in winter times. Others that are open all year round have a very low amount of audience in the winter and a high amount in the summer. So for the audience to have something to do even without a guide, maybe even without the museum being opened, we wanted to develop this e-guide. Or at summer days where there are too many people and we have a low amount of staff, and they can actually have a guide without being together with the staff.
So gamification, this is the new term we have to learn. I've heard it several places now. Is this also to get the young people, the teenagers, to feel more comfortable in the museum? Is this the target group also?
It is as well, yes. And now it's not even a matter of attracting the teenagers because this is the new way of doing it. They are so native that this is for them, it's a common way of dealing with anything is by a screen, one way or the other. So, and it does actually, it can make layers, more individual layers as well within the exhibition. But yes, teenage groups that are by tradition a hard group to target in the museum world, they're definitely part of this project.
And Natur Bornholm is a kind of experimentarium and whatever, this very much experience center. Is this the same for the partners in the project from the other countries?
It is, yeah. We are very similar in the way of having different subjects. Maybe it's a pure aquarium, maybe it's more in the science way, experimentarium. But altogether, we got some nature science, and we got basically the same visitors, families with fairly young kids. Mm-hmm. But they stop when they're, when the elders get teenagers, they find it boring, and then the whole family is not coming.
Okay. Now, I know the project is coming near to an end, but as I would say, probably all the other projects, you have also been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Could you say how, and have you some useful learnings which we could share with other projects which other projects might take advantage of? So how have you experienced the pandemic?
Well, the pandemic, yeah, we were closed down as anything. So of course it made some last stand delays. And this was the part of the project where we were to make surveys among the audience. How does it work, these things? So of course this was not really optional. Also for technical reasons, it's been delayed, so that actually here at the Bornholm, I did develop something, but I'd like to develop it much further. But the other partners have, of course, had a problem with the basic effect. Is there more visitors? This is, you can hardly, or you can't really measure that due to COVID-19. But then we remade the questions rather than asking, do you think that either an e-guide or e-game, gamification, would make it more likely that you visited a museum or an attraction? And there has been a survey of that, and far most say that yes, it's very likely. Like if you got on a 5-point scale, number 4 is it's the most popular to answer, that it's likely that it will increase the value or increase the possibility that you're going to the museum.
Okay, so you have still been working on the project, but you also have it prolonged, yes?
Yeah, well, and it is actually finished now. So we did have a prolongation, but just for a few months.
Okay,
yeah,
great. So I remember one of our first matchmaking meetings in South Baltic. We were on the Net Tour Bornholm. So maybe we will come again next time. It will be on Bornholm, right?
You'll be most welcome. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you, René. And we'll go to Fredrik Danborg in Guldborgsund. And you, Fredrik, and the municipality, you are involved in the Interconnect project. Could you please describe the main idea of the Interconnect? It's something about transport connections or whatever.
Yes, it is. It's about improving the cross-border transport in the South Baltic area, and we are looking at the total travel chains crossing the Baltic Sea. That means, for example, from a city using the bus, using the ferry across the Baltic Sea, and then a bus at the other side of the coast going into the city. So it's a really project connecting the South Baltic area.
But Fred, this is not a new thing for you in Guldborgsund. I recall former projects. So and I even tried the system going with the bus from Nykøbing to Gedser and taking the ferry to Rostock, etc.
Yeah.
So in this project, Interconnect, could you point out what do you see as the main impact for Guldborgsund, for your region?
For Guldborgsund region, it's an upgrade, in fact, of what we have achieved in our earlier projects, because as you mentioned, Guldborgsund and Rostock has had cooperation already from 2009 in an interface project, and further in Interface Plus project, where we have made a unified single ticket, and we have made a web-based travel planning and real-time information across the Baltic Sea. And what we have done in this project is to upgrade the ticketing system, making it much easier to buy the ticket on the web and on mobile phone. So it's a long-term involvement.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. Another thing is that for Rostock and Guldborgsund, we look at it in two ways. We are both working on the means to travel, so how to travel, but we're also looking at the other one where we say the reasons to go, or reasons to travel. So that's we are also doing in this project, supporting the institutions, much better cooperation, and we have made some exchanges.
When you say reasons to travel, could you give examples? What could be a good reason?
tourism is a very good reason, and both Rostock and Guldborgsund, we have a lot of tourism, but also that our citizens and our local organizations, institutions, that they learn each other to know much better, and that they establish close cooperation.
So no doubt that there's a really cross-border aspect in this one, and probably Rostock also was a part of this interconnect project, right?
They are, yeah.
Could you say what are the other regions and what are the specificities about other regions? Do you know that?
Yeah, one other axis, we have three main cases in the project. One is the Pomorski-Blekinge connection in those two regions, and then we have the coastal region of Klaipeda, and then we have, as we mentioned, the Rostock-Guldborgsund regions. But in fact, we also have a Estonian partner in our project, the municipality of Vimsi, because of their special experiences and their also interest in cross-border transport. That's particularly the Finland-Estonia connection.
Now, transport links and so on, it's not so much the municipality because you have the public bus is, I think, on the regional level, and the ferry is private and so on. So could you describe a little bit, I guess you have some of the other main stakeholders in the region, whether the bus company, the ferry company, or what?
Yes, particularly in our earlier projects, the interconnect and the interface plus, we have close cooperation with traffic and transport organizations in Rostock and also here in Denmark, Movia, but also of course Scanlines, the ferry connection, which is binding the two regions together.
What are your experiences having involved such private partners, which are mainly associated, of course, can only be associated? What are your experiences, good or bad, or what?
Well, the Scanlines company might have other agendas than the municipalities, so therefore we need to find a common ground and how can we cooperate and yeah, it's also a long-term involvement.
Okay, but it has been generally good.
Yes, it has, but probably we have this project where we focus on car-independent transport, and the main economic from the Scanlines are the car transport. So there we have to also find a common ground. How can we be together in this?
Okay. Now, COVID-19 and closing the borders is not a favorite for such kind of projects like yours project. How did you experience this pandemic?
Well, probably like most others, but yeah, our meetings has gone online, and the borders has been closed. So not much has happened in this area, but still we have had some exchanges during this summer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and are the project about to finish now, or how?
Yeah, in the autumn, late autumn.
Okay.
And yeah, I would guess that well, it is a long-term effort. So even though we don't have an application for the next program, I would say that we would still continue this cooperation.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I will try to, Thomas, if you can be here, because also the car project, how did you experience this COVID-19 pandemic? Have you asked for prolongation of the car project or what?
No, we expect to finalize as scheduled. We might extend the project, but that's because it's successful, not really
Okay.
because of any epidemic or pandemic.
And as Dominika said, we are about to have some calls. So we have decided in the monitoring committee here during the autumn to have a mini call, meaning that the ongoing projects will be able to apply for some further support. And what do you think about extension? Can you say what kind of extension?
Well, it can be either to put in more stuff to investigate, but I would primarily look at getting simply more chargers up on Bornholm.
Okay, so the Bornholm will gain of that.
Yes.
Oh, well, fine. For sure, we will accept that. And let's go to Nick, because I also want to ask Nick and COVID-19. How did you experience? You said a little bit about it, but have you asked for prolongation of the Archeobald project?
The general project has considered that situation.
Mm.
As far as I know, our leader partners have already requested for an extension until December of 2021.
Okay, so to the end of the next year.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. David, what about Wasteman?
Yeah, we will be most certainly applying for an extension. We're uncertain how long exactly, and we will do that quite shortly. For our part in the Wasteman project, we have been hit hard by COVID-19 because part of these living labs entails people gathering together in big numbers for opening events and workshops and that kind of thing. And that wasn't possible back during the lockdown, the hard lockdown back in March, April. So that it was originally planned for the living labs to take place up to the summer. Mm. So this has been, a big delay in that part of the project. Interestingly enough, it's also impacted how we work with subcontractors with getting these prototypes built. It turns out that under lockdown, there's a huge demand for craftsmen around the island. They have enough to do. And so it's hard for the project to get them subcontracted to help with prototype development. So that's actually been a kind of a weird way COVID-19 has affected Wasteman. That okay. It's hard to find anybody who can help us with this. And luckily, you found a really good craftsman for the ones we see behind me.
So it's not only minus, there are also some pluses. Now, before we will ask Gosha to come up with some questions, I just want to shortly, because Thomas, you have experience with a lot of different kind of projects, different kind of programs and fundings. I think also state and private fundings probably also. Now, could you give us an impression? Is the South Baltic such a hopeless program to deal with?
No, it's a nice program. It's a little bit heavy on the administrative side when I ask my administrative staff. But on the normal task and for normal project side, it's a quite nice project. And we're quite happy with it, and it fits rather nice because it goes into the region. It means it's very close to where people can use it, and I find that quite agreeable.
Okay, in your experience, could you point out one thing you think we should improve and do better or in the program?
It's just a little bit boring with the finances. It should be easier to get and register the finance and get all of this administrative stuff done.
Okay, thank you. And I will turn it over to Fred. Do you have any good advice dealing with projects in the South Baltic?
Well, I think first of all, it's a good idea. I think it really brings regions together and bring citizens together, and that's the overall ambition of all our activity. I think also when we are dealing with the Interreg projects, we are not just going into an agenda, but we are also setting the agenda and developing the agenda in our local institutions.
And you have been very active in the South Baltic program. I think you are one of the municipalities who have been most active. So is this something that you can get used to the program and how it's managed and so on? Yes, or what?
Yes, we are rather easygoing with the project management, and we have experiences with 4 Interreg programs at the moment, and it's a little bit different from program period to program period. Who is the most easy on the finance registration and reporting? And at the moment, I think that the Baltic Sea Region B program has a very good concept.
Okay. René still has hair on his head, but I know, René, that it's a bit surprising because you have sometimes, you know, been a little bit tired of the administrative side of the South Baltic Programme, right? Oh, you should unmute. Microphone.
Oh, there. Now I unmuted. Super. Yes, very much. And I think it's, as we are a small place, we have a little administration and we're just a little partner. So the administration burden had been overwhelming for us. So I could only, I've been advised though, to join a project, make it, be there and have a substantial amount of time, because otherwise it's just the percentage of time spent on administration is too large.
So, okay. And Nick, turning to you, because I also know the museum had some challenges, but you are the one, you just asked your colleagues to do the bad things, right? The complicated things.
Well, I think there is a program that is very good in a general sense. I think we've been getting a lot of support from the main office. Margorsata, Martha, they have been extremely helpful. Obviously, some of the problems we have is because we are a very small institution and the administration, sometimes it gets too heavy. The system, the SL 2014, sometimes it played to us very funny tricks. A couple of times the information that was uploaded was erased totally, but that was also part of the learning. Now we have learned some tricks, and obviously the support we've been getting has been tremendous. So in that sense has been ups and downs, but it's so far.
Okay, David, you will be the last one. Could you share some experience and good advice?
Well, I think we're not the only ones, as we can hear around the table virtually here, with some challenges with SL 2014 and some of the other administrative parts of being part of the Interreg South Baltic project. A good thing, a good tip, is to help each other out. What we've been making use of at BOFA is experiences with more experienced partners in terms of reporting, in terms of how to understand the system and how to make it go smoothly. We can make our own networks and help each other out, guys. That's I guess one of the tips I could put to the table here.
Yeah, very fine, because I'm proud of this Bornholm model we made, because we had these meetings annually, and I know the projects in between are really helping each other very much, and that's great, really great. So, Gosha, I will turn the floor to you, and the panelists, please stay on, because now we are going to the interesting part, and that means the questions from other people. Please, Gosha.
Thank you, Niels, and thank you all the speakers. Talking on behalf of the JS, I have to say that the remark about the administration and the SL system, it's noted. We will do our best to make it the administrative burden much easier next programming period. But on the other hand, as Nicolas said, it's also a learning process. So I guess you are all very much experienced also in an administrative way, and it will be much easier in the next projects. Yes, we thank you for this inspiring stories, and we can see that from the examples you presented, that cooperation across the borders brings really tangible results, which influence regions and people. From what you said, the project examples you presented, it already provoked some nice discussions on the chat, and many questions have been asked, and many of them have been already answered. But having heard your presentations, the discussions, and knowing the projects, I would like to ask some questions. And first one will go to you, David. As I've seen in the Wasteman project, BOFA aim is that by 2032, all waste collected on Bornholm are to be recycled and reused. And I wonder very much to which extent cooperation in the Wasteman projects and actually the cooperation within Interreg, so this cross-border activities, help you with achieving this goal.
Well, yeah, cross-border collaboration with respect to achieving the zero waste target that we have is fundamental, I would say. It turns out that we're not the only ones that need to be doing something about waste. What is actually the case is that all the EU member states have legislative requirements from the EU Waste Directive and other circular economy packages, which is to say framework conditions that are pushing down upon all the member states in order to increase recycling. So it's not just us, BOFA and Bornholm, saying we need to do something about this. Everybody has to do something about this. And then when you go down to the concrete activities, well, what we're seeing here behind me, an example of a prototype with 10 different waste fractions. This is a marked change from the way we do it today. On Bornholm, we don't have this waste segregation. And in many of the partners involved in the project, we don't have that either. So this speaks to that. If we cannot recycle without being able to figure out what we can recycle, this is the first step to that. And that's what this Living Lab really plays into.
Great. So what you say, it seems that the Interreg, it's the first step for many activities then carried out in the regions, yeah?
Absolutely.
Great, nice to hear that. And Thomas, we heard a lot about this electromobility in your project and about the infrastructure side of the project. And hearing that, one could assume that this kind of activities, this kind of project could be implemented on a local level without this cross-border dimension. And reflecting to that, I would like to ask, what is the added value then from the cross-border cooperation in such project as yours?
I'm afraid you fell out a little bit at the last. Could you repeat the very last bit?
Yes. As the infrastructure activities which you have in your project might be perceived as very local and might be implemented in a local, in the regional programs, in mainstream programs. So my question was, what is the actual added value from the cross-border cooperation in such projects as yours?
Well, I could be tempted to say that the value is that things get done. I mean, we get an investment and we get some quite interesting stuff done. I'm actually quite keen on this, what I call the Bornholm model. And to see that it works in real life will be something that other people can benefit from. Basically, people will go to Bornholm to see how this works.
Okay. Great, thanks. And among the projects which have been presented, we have the one which is already with us for almost 8 years. The Baltic Museums initiative has started in the first financing perspective, and this cooperation is really long. I know that Natur Bornholm, which René you represent, joined in this project for the last 3 years, which is, from the perspective of the whole initiative, quite a short time, though it's still a long Interreg project. So from this perspective, how would you assess the results gained in this Baltic Museums cooperation?
I'd say we have gone pretty fast into working mode. So we could, and there has been many not sub-conclusions, but during the project, we learned a lot from each other. And I think being a big project with many partners from different countries, it has been such a nice thing that most of them knew each other from projects before. So we didn't have to start up getting to know each other, who's good at what, because we're just a few partners coming in. So the matter of getting the same group of people, getting new projects, I see that as a great benefit when it's complicated, being several countries, knowing each other, trusting each other, and how they are working. So I'd say one of the good benefits is progressing work and actually doing something, trusting the other ones, has been easier than if it were all new members.
Well, it's a very interesting point. From the program perspective, very often it is expected the partnerships to grow or to be built from the newcomers, new institutions. But from your example, we can see that also this kind of old partnerships has its benefits, and as you said, the cooperation is smoothly from the very beginning, and the trust in what you do, it's really appreciated. Thank you for this remark. And Nicola, I also would like to ask, we heard a lot about these excavations and this digital aspect of your project. It's great to hear that thanks to that you attract a young generation to the museum world. And you also mentioned this Bornholm heritage, and I would also like to ask you, from your perspective, what is the most attractive natural and cultural heritage of the whole South Baltic region, which is the most attractive for the tourism?
The idea of this is just to support and to create new touristic routes. By choosing some of these sites, for example, we were just picking some of the ones that we consider were important in order to connect them through a story and see what they were providing and giving to the people as attraction, and try to make a common ground in all of them so they could give the people the same elements but presenting their own stories, and their stories could be connected. So we could see something that was across the region. It was not only from one particular site. So in this case, by the time we see what our colleagues are doing in Dansk, by the time we select the site of Soromul, and by the time we selected Upraka in Lund, we were trying to show this, that there was a story, that there is something, but there are also other points that can be connected to this. So obviously, around the South Baltic region, we can see that it can connect some other countries like Germany, it can connect Lithuania, it can connect up to Sweden if we want to. So the question in there is, how can we create this connection better, how to invite the other colleagues to be part of it. And that's our main result that we want to get out of this project, to develop a protocol that might serve to the other ones to see and read our experience, see which one were the benefits, and see how we can apply it and connect some other areas along the South Baltic region.
Great. Yeah. From the tourist perspective, I would very much count on these connections and to have the occasion and opportunity, and hopefully very fast to visit all these nice places you mentioned. Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope COVID will allow us to work next year, and we could also show again the experience, and probably by now put it online so people can see exactly what we are doing at the very moment we are doing it.
Yes, and hopefully, yes, in the future, in the coming hopefully months, it will enable us to visit these nice places.
It would be perfect. You're welcome.
Thank you. And the last question I would like to direct to Freda. The Interconnect project, this supporting international cross-border travels and this one-ticket solution is very much appreciated in the European world, to be honest. When I was taking part in the different events at the European level, I have to admit that this initiative was mentioned a few times as an example of the truly cross-border activity and truly essence of the Interreg project. Yeah, especially this one-ticket solution within which works between which is aimed to work at the end of this interconnect project. So my question to you, Freda, will be, you are becoming actually an example for other regions on this Interreg activities. So did you meet with an interest from other regions on how you worked on the projects, how you developed these solutions and this cross-border traveling?
Yes, I agree with you that such cross-border transport projects, they are really the ultimate cross-border cooperation, because we really have to work close together on the same very topic, and also this is binding the regions together. And yes, it does attract interest. I know that in fact one of our partners will be going to present project results in an international conference in Madrid in Spain in October, and also know that our project leader has been visiting around in our Baltic Sea area, talking about the project results and how we are working. And you may also say that what Rostock and Gullbergsund has been doing back in two earlier projects has been the inspiration for this interconnect project, which in fact started with a study tour to Gullbergsund, where we presented the whole old story, and then the project partners they made the travel from Nykøbing to Getzer, taking the ferry, going to Rostock Harbor, going to Rostock, so that they could see all of the single elements in this connection. And I'm very impressed what they have been achieved at the Pomorske-Blekinge axis, where they have made both a unified ticket, and they have made this web-based travel planning tool across the Baltic Sea. It's very impressive.
Yes, and yes, we also hope for that. And yeah, we very much count on that this highway through South Baltic region, which is actually called this connection between Pomorske and Blekinge, this Stena Line ferry, and all this related regional transport, will be much more popular among South Baltic tourism. Yes, thank you for this project actions, which support that. Thank you. So we are a bit ahead of schedule, but I think it's also the good time to start entertain a bit. Please stay focused, because we will now launch a quiz, and by taking part in it, you can win some nice gifts from our program. And I will ask my colleague Mate to tell us more about how to participate in the quiz.
Thank you very much, Małgorzata. Hello everyone, I'm Mate Salo, Project Officer in the JS. And with the team, we prepared a quiz for you about Interreg in general, marking the 30 years anniversary of Interreg as an entertainment between the two panels. And I would like to ask you to grab your cell phones and open your browsers and go to menti.com, as you can see on the screen, and type this code to enter the quiz. And I would like to also ask you, once you are in the system, tap on the heart on the screen of your cell phone, so I will see the number of participants hopefully rising in the quiz. Yes, I see that people started to arrive. Really great. The quiz itself will be very dynamic. So I would like to share some technical information about the quiz itself, which might seem to be boring, but please pay attention because you can win interesting Interreg branded gadgets. The top 10 player will be awarded. And for this reason, I kindly ask you to please register to the quiz with your full name as you registered in the event. So we will be able to contact the winners and discuss about delivering these gifts. So some technical questions, technical remarks. We will have altogether 5 questions. 2 will be open questions, the first and the fourth one. Here you will have to answer with a number, and the other questions will be optional. So you have to choose the only one right option in the quiz. Please keep in mind that the points are awarded based on 2 facts. One is obviously the correctness of the answer, but the other is the time needed to answer the question. So once you see the options in the quiz, a counter starts and it starts to deduct the points. Maximum you can get 1,000 points and minimum 500 if you answer correctly. And of course, your result depends on the time factor. I will move to the next slide. It's still not the start of the quiz, but we will see also those participants that you are in the system, but for some reason maybe didn't tap the heart on the screen. Yes, we can see on this really nice, colorful screen the images of all the people. So I see we are 77 in the game already. So I will give some more time for you to join. Okay, so I see that it's still rising, the number of participants. So please join the quiz and with your full name. So we will be able to contact the winners of the quiz in order to discuss how to deliver the gifts. And please keep in mind to answer correctly and also keep in mind the time, because the points, the number of points you can get also depends on the time that you need to answer the quiz. I see that we are 81 in the system, but the number of the players stopped rising. So I still give like a few seconds to join, but then we will start the quiz with the participants that are already present. So let's start with the first question. Keep in mind that here you have to type a number as an answer. So yes, the good result was 1990, as we are marking 30 years of Interreg. Get ready for the second question. Yes, I think this was for everyone who is involved in Interreg projects or Interreg programs in any way was an easy choice. Let's move to the third question. Yes, Interreg has 10.1 billion euros, and just maybe an interesting fact, the whole cohesion policy has 351.8 billion euros. So we can see Interreg is rather a tiny share, but as we saw in the previous panel, with dedication, concentration, and result orientation, we can achieve good results. Let's move to the fourth question, which will be an open question again, so you will have to type the correct solution. Yes, the correct answer is 5. And don't be scared, because also 5 with Arabic numbers or even 5th or 5 with letters are accepted as good solutions. Only the Roman number is shared on the screen. And as you could hear today, or you will hear today, also programs are very much focusing on the next period. And get ready for the last question. All the three websites are quite important for Interreg, but the website which contains all projects and beneficiaries is keep.eu. And I would very much recommend this for all the projects if you would like to search for projects with similar focuses to collaborate. And now this was the last question of the quiz, so let's move on to see the top 10 players who won our Interreg 30 years branded package with gadgets. I would like to congratulate to all the 10 people who made this quiz the best, but also I would like to say to the others that don't be sad, because we also have another challenge for you, which is an ongoing challenge, which is 30 years of, related to 30 years of Interreg, 30 runs for Interreg. If you participate in this, you will also get our package with the gadget, and for more information will follow on our website. And also we have an event on Facebook, so check it out, participate in any distance in the run competition, and then we will also give you these gadgets, and the top 10 players will be contacted to discuss the details about how to deliver this package that you won. And I would like to say a big thank you to all of you who participated in the quiz, and I would like to give back the floor to my colleague Małgorzata.
Thank you, Mate. And once again, congratulations to all the winners. Yes, thank you very much. I hope, thanks to the quiz, some of you also got some knowledge about Interreg as well. Yes, in the first part of the webinar, we heard a lot about current impact of Interreg and particularly the South Baltic Programme on small regions, and enriched with this experience we gained in the last two financial perspectives. We look for even more ambitious and greater results for the upcoming period of 2021 and 2027. In this context, we would like to hear more about the challenges in our regions. I will give now the floor once again to Niels Chresten Andersen, who invited representatives from all 5 countries, from the regions of the South Baltic countries, to discuss about the future of South Baltic Programme. Niels, please.
Thank you. I skipped my headset. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, a joint programming committee which aims to prepare the next South Baltic Programme from 21 to 27 more or less has finalized now the first phase, the socio-economic analysis and the SWOT analysis on strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, as well as a problem tree covering several thematic areas for the future program. Now we have started the next phase, aiming over the coming months to set up the program strategy and to develop the program priorities. Not to be too dramatic, we might say we have started the battle, because for sure there will be discussions now. Projects and other stakeholders, project partners and other stakeholders have already been addressed through surveys and interviews, and more dialogue will follow in the coming weeks and months. Now, this panel discussion will focus on the future of the South Baltic Programme from the perspective of program regions. And I'm happy to introduce to you the panel. We have Mr. Egon Bo, member of the Regional Council Region Zealand, Denmark. Welcome, Egon.
Thank you.
Okay, good. And we also have Ms. Johanna Wickman, member of the Regional Development Board in Region Kalmar, the Kalmar Län County, member of the Euroregion Baltic Youth Board, Sweden, and from Sweden. Welcome, Johanna. Okay, can we hear your voice?
Yes, hello. Thank you.
Great, good, just to check it.
Yeah.
And in Klaipėda, we have the mayor of Klaipėda City, chairman of the Klaipėda Region Development Council in Lithuania, Mr. Vytautas Grubliauskas. Welcome, Vytautas.
Welcome, nice to see you.
Great to see you as well. And we also have Monika Cholewczynska-Dimitruk. Sorry, Monika, it's really difficult for me. You are the head of the International Programs Unit, Department of Regional and Spatial Development, Office of the Marshal on the Pomorsky Voivodeship. Welcome, Monika.
Welcome everyone. It's nice to see you all. Thank you.
And from Germany, we have Henrik Fanger, Deputy Head of the Financial Administration Department in City of Wismar. Welcome, Henrik.
Yeah, hello, and yeah, nice to see you.
You as well, thank you. And from the Euroregion Baltic, the head of the International Permanent Secretariat, we have Magdalena Leshina Ruchivo. Magda, I just say Magda, okay?
Yes, you did very well, Niels. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Hello, welcome everyone.
This is really a test. Yeah, great to have you on board, all of you. And dear panelists, we know that the European Commission has drafted a regulation with 5 policy objectives and also 2 Interreg specific objectives for the future programs. Well, still not adopted, what we expect it to be. And I will ask Gosia or Kasia to please share with us Diaz I just took from one of our materials. And here, which I hope can be shared, it will come here. It's Mate, yes. And on this screen, I hope you all now can see these 5 policy objectives and the 2 Interreg specific objectives. Now it's about a smarter Europe, a greener, low carbon Europe, a more connected Europe, a more social Europe, and a Europe closer to citizens. These are the policy objectives for the cohesion policy programs as such, and means also for the Interreg programs. But then we have these 2 Interreg specific objectives, a better cooperation governance and a safer and more secure Europe. You can let it stay a little bit, Mata, and then you can take it off in 1 minute or so everybody can be familiar with it. But due to an expected budget limit, maybe even less than we have in our current program, we will have to choose 1 or more of these objectives for our future program. And most probably we will not be able to choose all 7 objectives. That is for sure our experience. We will now in the panel discussion first make a quick round where I will ask the same question to all the panelists. If you personally, because probably you do not have a regional mandate so far, but if you personally have to select maximum 3 of these objectives, which ones would it be? And also shortly say a little bit why. So I will begin with you, Egon, in Region Zealand, please. So what would you choose if you were the one to choose?
It's difficult to choose one. I will think a smarter Europe will be the first I will choose. And I have a more involvement of the public affairs in the countries. I can't see the third one.
No, that was a more connected Europe.
A more connected, that's fine for me.
Yes, okay. So can you explain why you say smarter Europe? I have a few keywords here. Smarter Europe is about innovation, digitalization, economic transformation, and support to SMEs, right?
Yes, that's right. And if I should give a little explanation of why I have chosen that, I have to explain what are we doing in Denmark? What are our organization? What are the region make in Denmark? The primary thing we are making in Denmark is healthcare and driving our hospitals. Therefore, IT, healthcare, and so on will be very necessary for us to make a better cooperation with the other countries and the private industries.
So somehow you see healthcare also covered by a smarter Europe, yes?
Yes, I have a lot of points of this, but I will come back to it when you start to interview me.
Yes, we will come back to that. And now, Johanna, looking from your perspective in Kalmar, and so what would you prefer of these policy objectives?
Well, I would prefer a smarter Europe through innovation and also a greener Europe. I think that if we combine those two with green innovation and bio-innovation, we can have really a good access of the South Baltic Programme, and it can benefit all of our regions.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll turn to Vytautas and from Klaipėda. You should unmute, Vytautas. Yes.
Yes, I unmute. Thank you so much. So is it time for the presentation or for the status memo that I have?
No, Vytautas, no, I would just ask if you were the one to choose among these policy objectives. Could you say which ones would you prefer?
Probably, I think I would like to prefer about the future of the South Baltic Program. I think to speak in general.
Okay, so you will have a more general approach. Well, yeah. We'll come back to you a little bit later, to ask more about your views about the future of the program. But I will also ask Monica if you have any favorites here.
Yes, we will choose policy objective 2, 3 and 4. And all three objectives are in line with our development strategy of the Pomorskie region 2030, which is at the final stage of preparation. Thank you.
So it means you want a greener Europe, you want a more connected Europe, and you also want a social Europe.
Yeah, Europe, yeah. More
Okay.
social Europe, yes.
Thank you very much. And it in line with your regional strategies. And Henrik, from a German perspective, and your favorites?
Yeah, I would pick at first a smart Europe. Digitalization of the government, for instance, is the main focus of our policy. Of course, the green Europe is really covering the topic of our development, and I would choose closer Europe to citizens. Because we had a really good experiences in our past projects.
Yeah, there was some disturbance in the line, but I got smart and green. And did you have a third one, Henrik?
Yeah, and the last one is Europe closer to citizens.
Oh, to the citizens, yes. Okay, thank you very much. And Magda, Euro regions, what do you think?
Yes, so for us in Euro-regional Baltic, I would say the most important thing would be to have Europe closer to citizens objective included in the future. And if I would have to pick a second one, that would be a greener, low-carbon Europe.
And greener, yes?
Yes.
Thank you very much. It was just a starting point to challenge you a little bit. I will ask more in deep each of you now, but I just, to all audience, I would say that I mentioned a smarter Europe is very much about innovation, digitalization, economic transformation, and support to SMEs. And the question here for those of you later on will be, if you want the SMEs, the small and medium-sized enterprise, should they become direct beneficiaries in the future program, or should it be like now, where SMEs can be indirect beneficiaries and not direct project partners? That will be the next question for the smarter Europe. I'll come back to that. But I'll also just shortly introduce the other ones. A greener Europe is very much about energy transition, climate adaptation, marine environment, circular economy, sustainable tourism, etc. And here the question might be, what are the main topics from each of your regions in this area, talking about greener Europe? A more connected Europe, green mobility, ICT connectivity, ports, airports, etc. What should be in focus of these policy objective if this one is selected? And a more social Europe is refer very much to the European pillar of social rights. It's about health, welfare sectors, education, employment, social inclusion, etc. And here, maybe the COVID-19 pandemic in one or another way could influence this one for the future as a future priority. But can we see a cross-border aspect in it? Then we have a Europe closer to the citizens, community-led local development, could be local actions group. Is this a way for us to choose? But of course, also there is people to people, a cultural dimension and other dimensions in this fifth objective. And then we have the two specific objectives about a better cooperation, governance, might be capacity building and so, and also a safer and more secure Europe. So this is just so all of us have this in mind. Now let's start to ask Egon, because Egon, you said that you somehow prefer the smarter Europe in the sense that it also could include the health, and the health is of a regional task in Denmark, a main task, hospitals and the health area. But I thought you also referred a little bit to business in the sector and digitalization, right? Could you say a few more words about that, Egon?
Let me start with one thing. We all have a problem with the COVID-19. And if you go to the hospitals, then we're looking forward to see a new system to clean the houses, to clean the hospitals. You have an infrared cleaning system in an experiment in Denmark, and you have to do it more, because I see in the future you have to have a more clean hospitals than we have now. You have to clean the doors, you have to clean the grips on the doors, and so on and so on and so on. And if you shall do this manual, you have to develop this system to a new system to clean. I don't know why, and I don't know how to do it, but it is very important. And I see it have a connection to the IT systems. Also, if you take the patients, I also see a develop in there. Why should all the patients go to the hospital to make a control and so on? Take, for example, the diabetes. They can be controlled by the IT systems in their own home. Then they haven't to do a long journey to come to the hospital. We have a very big region in the Region Zealand, and it would bring it more easier to take them at home on the control. So if you have to come to the hospital 3 or 4 times in the year to make a control, you can bring it down to 1 if you can control them by their homes. So that's another things. And you name also the firms. In Denmark, we have a lot of firms who is working with healthcare. But I think we could do it much better if we make it cross over the borders in the countries. So also there, you have to develop new systems into a lot of programs. Let me take an example. We can make a more closer work with the other countries if we have small countries, if we have small firms who can make a development of their systems and make a better back-to-back feedback systems to us. We can do a little, but I think we all can do it better if you are developing together with different countries and different appointment of this.
Okay, so you see also a cross-border aspect.
Yes, a cross-border, because it's necessary also in the future. If you're going to, you have to be a lot more open to each other, and you have to develop your secrets with your good friends.
Okay, and are you in favor about the small and medium-sized enterprises, the companies? Are you in favor that they should be more involved than in the current program? Should they be able to become project partners, or should they be associated like they would be now?
I think it would be partnerships. I think I can see when I talk to the small firms in Denmark, they are very, very interested in having partners in different countries.
Okay.
So I think that's the best, but I can suspend something of the other thing you're saying.
No, but that's fine. I think I will go to Johanna now in Kalmar, because Johanna, we could maybe start with the question, how do you see about the small and medium-sized enterprise? Should they be more involved, or should it be like now?
Well, I think it should be like now. And the main reason is that because of the heavy administration, there is low or sometimes no interest for Swedish small and medium-sized companies to involve in these kind of projects. So I think it should be by now, like now, because of the administration burden for them.
So the administration burden is a kind of barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you also pointed at the smarter Europe besides the greener Europe, etc. What are your main preferences in this area?
Well, my main preference is a greener Europe. Many people are now raising their voices, demanding us to take action for a more sustainable future. And I think the best way we can do this is through innovation. So we can make energy transition, both in the energy production, but as well as the transport sector. By using blue and green growth, we can transform our sectors as they are now to be sustainable in the future. And I think that is something we should focus on.
Mm. Traditionally, Kalmar had a very big focus on the marine environment. And do you see this also still as a part of the future program?
Yes, of course. The Baltic Sea is very important for us, as well as groundwater, which we in the last few years has experienced a big lack of in the warm summers. So water management and marine questions are, of course, still a big priority.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will turn to Vytautas in Klaipėda. Vytautas, you had a more general approach on the future of the program. Could you say a few words about your perspective for the future program, please, Vytautas?
Yes, I think more or less we have kind of similar views like it was mentioned before. No doubt it's a greener EU or green EU. Particularly we speak about the Klaipėda region. It's very important and sensitive for us because we have a lot of issues with environment protection, environment issues, and no doubt about sustainable development. So we are in the front line in Lithuania in these positions about greener Europe and environment protection. So I think for us it's a main and most important topics for now, and I hope for the next coming years.
But Vytautas, you also have a very big seaport in Klaipėda, and the offshore industry, I think, is quite huge in your area. Do you see any possibilities in this offshore and port area in the next program?
Yes, of course, and now our port, Klaipėda port, is port only in Lithuania. So importance of this object is more than huge. But what about the development of the port and the port offshore things? No doubt it's a great challenge for the state and for the city and for the region, because it will be a lot of questions connected to the environment protection things, about alternative energetical sources. So a lot of things goes to Klaipėda city from the offshore development of the port ambitions.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we will turn to Monica because we'll talk a little bit about the Pomorsky development strategy. Let's turn it all this offshore. You know, the current program we say it's blue and green. And Monica, what about the blue area? I think you have a new competence center, I heard, in Pomorsky. Do you see any possibilities when you say greener, and you also talked about connectivity and the social Europe?
Yes, we are at the moment in Pomorskie of building a platform of actors, local actors in topic wind energy. So this platform will be ready also for international cooperation. We think that the Baltic Sea is something what we have in common, and we see the possibilities in wind energy, but also in this water management things like utilization of these chemical substances, weapon, and all other hazardous substances. And we see here the possibility of testing some technologies which should be, for example, tested by some experts which are in clusters like Safe Baltic. So we see the possibility for not directly SMEs, but the institutions supporting business, but also municipalities and research institutes. There are also important areas like protection of coastal areas and to take care of the clean water. And these areas are related to drainage of the rainwater into the sea, water and sewage management, flood protection at coastal areas. So all things related to, generally speaking, water pollution and the sea. We think there is also potential to increase awareness of circular economy between citizens and all stakeholders within our South Baltic region. Priority 4, policy objective 4, is also very crucial one, because we will face such problems like socio-economic integration of migrants, also elderly care, cultural heritage development, and tourism development, which is very of great interest after our consultations with beneficiaries from Pomorskie. Also, we see the potential in policy objective 3 related to transport, mainly speaking, and we see also the potential for follow-up projects continuation, like Interconnect, which were presented in the first part of our today's meeting, and which are dealing with IT systems for cross-border mobility and integrated common ticket. Yes.
Quite interesting. You have many concrete things. It's great. But you said tourism for you is under the policy objective 4, the social dimension, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, in the project, in the proposal of the European regulations in 2018 in May, tourism was only in policy objective 5, but after the changes published in on the 28th of May this year, there is a small change. There is two specific objectives are in priority on policy objective 4, mainly culture, heritage, and tourism. That's why I mention this policy objective 4.
Great. You're very updated. Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now let's turn the floor to Henrik and Wismar. Henrik, can you put a few more words on your priorities for the future program?
Yeah, the first priority is the smaller Europe. We have digitalization as a main point in our integrated city development concept. And we have a couple of ideas how to implement these smaller, the smarter principles. For instance, the intelligent waste management. So we would like to make some digital plans for the waste trucks through the city, or have some sensors in the waste cans that gives the information to our waste company. And yeah, the third topic that we will focus on is more digitalization in our public transport system. We would like to install digital bus schedules, and have some direct information to, for instance, to cell phone apps, so that you know when the bus leaves or if there's any delay on the schedule.
Henrik, there are some problems with your microphone because I got what you said, but I don't know if you could do like me, if you have a microphone in your computer, so you could take off the headset and try to see if it's better. So we can use a microphone in the computer. I don't know. Maybe you could try and we could see. Because then I will ask you a question. If you try this, we can test it immediately. If you use the microphone in the computer. The question is that about the Smarter Europe. Are you in favor of involving the small and medium-sized enterprise more directly in the program, or should it still be like now, where it will be mainly through the business clusters and organizations? Please.
I think it's the way it is now, that they only be associated partners is my favorite, because as my colleagues already said, there's a big administration effort for the companies, and I think that our partners right now, they have experience in this administration of EU projects, and so it's easier for us to involve the associated companies better than if they would be a single partner.
So you are in favor of to keep as it is now. We got the point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry because the line is very disturbed by noise. But we got your point, Henrik. Thank you very much. And now let's turn to the EU regions. Magda, could you say a few more words? Because you said closer to the citizens, but of course also the green Europe. Of course, that's of course a leading question. But when you say closer to citizens, please put a few more words. What you would prioritize.
Yes, so when we talk about this objective number 5, Europe closer to citizens, what we mean in Euro-region Baltic is that it's crucial to enhance the involvement of the smaller organizations, of more local actors, the so-called bottom-up level stakeholders that may be included in the cooperation now, but maybe somehow they are also not included yet. So we would like to attract them to be more engaged in the cross-border cooperation. When they are not included yet, we call them the newcomers. So our goal would be to not only like boost the capacities of those newcomers and attract them to come actually to cross-border cooperation and start engaging in those cross-border cooperation activities, but also to somehow form new partnerships, introduce them to the already existing consortia, so that a Europe closer to citizens would be seen more as a cross-cutting objective, because no matter what is your area of expertise, if you are a small and local actor and you would like to be engaged, you are very welcome to join the cross-border cooperation. And for us in Euro-region Baltic, it's very important to attract those local actors, especially because, you know, South Baltic area is a rural area, yeah, and for many actors outside the bigger cities, we still see that there is maybe some interest, but they are not really there. They are not really engaged. And there are various reasons. Yeah, it could be financial barriers, administrative barriers, but sometimes it's just, you know, like the lack of awareness. So also capacity building initiatives that could be offered, you know, by the program. And then we hope there will be like a strong impact on those in the future program, because thanks to capacity building initiatives, those small and local actors actually can see their way to be included in the future program and cross-border activities.
And this is very much based on your experience with the umbrella project in the current program, right? Which is about capacity building, right?
Yes, exactly. In our umbrella project, our goal is to actually reach those newcomers and small and local actors and offer the help that we heard from them they need. So like a tailor-made support, including micro activities. So ability to have a cross-border experience, meet actors from other countries, to do a study visit, to join the cross-border conferences, maybe do some trainings. We offered a lot of rent and expert activities where we helped our beneficiaries to actually get from the point where they have the idea and start to, for this idea to look like a project application in order to join the cross-border cooperation. But the main goal was to actually raise awareness that cross-border cooperation is happening, that is very important to be included, and that all the bottom-up actors are essential and they are very welcome to join it.
Okay. Now, Dominika mentioned in the beginning of the webinar that there will be seed money calls, the first one next year. Due to the experience from the umbrella and your, do you see already now that there are coming seed money projects?
Yes, I would say definitely, because we have a lot of beneficiaries that worked with us throughout the whole project period, and it's been 3 years because we have also prolonged our project due to COVID-19 pandemic. And we see that some of them are really very eager to start, to actually, start actions now and start with the new project ideas. They are ready because they've met their partners in other regions, for instance, thanks to umbrella activities or other program activities. They boosted their capacities, for instance, using one of our trainings or webinars or any other tools we've offered. And now they feel that they are ready to join this cross-border project adventure, so to say. So seed money is a great way because it's a possibility for them to start on a smaller scale, not really a full-time, 2 or 3 year long project, a small financial burden. This is also important. Maybe smaller procedures. We really look forward to that. So this means that those local actors could actually engage.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I will end this up with a short round to, if maybe some of you have comments for the other ones. You will have a chance now if there are any reflections here based on what the other have said. So Egon, anything you would like to comment here before we go to the question and answer round? Yo, you just need to...
Yes. I will address a question to David about the waste handling in the hospitals. It's a very difficult problem you have all over the world, especially the medicines, it's needles, it's so a lot of things. So it's very important you develop a system who are close to the hospitals to start with what we call it, to handle the special wastewater and the special place and so on there. So it's also a very, very important things to make a greener world.
Okay, I don't know, David, do we still have David on board?
I don't think I can't see him.
No, but that's a question. You think about the waste from the hospitals and this health area.
Yes, also to make a more green. For if you don't do it, it will go in the normal waste.
Yes, that's not good.
That's not good.
No. But we'll keep it up as an issue which should be considered, right?
Yes.
And then let's go to Johanna. Did you have any reflection based on what the other said?
Yeah, I just want to agree with Magda. I think it's very important that we capacity build, especially smaller actors. I think a bottom-up perspective is important if we want to make a transition of the whole society towards a sustainable future.
Okay, and Johanna, just a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are the youngest among us. I think we are quite close to each other by age. But you have been involved also in youth projects in the South. Do you see a youth perspective anywhere in the future program?
Yeah, I think that first of all, the environmental questions are very important for youth. I also see a problem in all of our regions with young people moving out of here to more bigger cities. So I think on a social aspect, it's good that we make our regions attractive for young people to stay in and move to. So that's also something that we could work on in the South Baltic Programme.
Thank you very much, Johanna. And the young man in Klaipėda, Vytautas, do you have any reflection based on what the other said?
I think everything was said. It's important for the whole region, so it's not something very special what things we will speak. But of course, I would like just maybe to make accent about not only greener strategy, but the blue strategy as well. But maybe it's in general. But if you speak about quite sensitive things like medical waste problem, it was mentioned as well. We had as well this great challenge in that field, but we found solutions. It was not so easy, but it's how to say. It's like a lesson for the future, but it's only in one field. But anyway, I agreed what Magda told, what Johanna told, so nothing special to add.
Okay, thank you very much. But the medical wage is a subject we need to consider, right? And Monica, what about you? You have any further things and reflections?
Yes, I have. I agree with Magda that we need newcomers on board in the next perspective, and we should to improve our visibility of our South Baltic Programme, and we believe that small-scale infrastructure components in the projects will could help in this to have more tangible and visible results in the future, and to turn a little bit the character of the program from soft to more infrastructure. Yeah, so this is our observations, and we also need simplifications if we speak about implementation perspective and implementation area of the program, that we need procedures simplification for sure, especially reporting, first level control, SL 2014. So and also if we would like to have NGOs in our family, we need pre-financing system. Thank you.
Okay, infrastructure, simplification, NGOs, 3 new terms. Yes, Henrik, and you talked about smarter Europe and companies and innovations. Do you have any further things to reflect on?
Yeah, I would give a comment without us. We are currently involved in a project Crossroads together with the University of Klaipėda and the Museum of Garstai, and this focuses on more social Europe and more connected Europe, and I hope that these 2 topics are also in the future will be a good connection between, for instance, Wismar and Klaipėda, because I think we have a lot of common as a park city from the history point of view. So I hope we have the next project together.
Okay, that was an invitation. Thank you, Henrik. That was an invitation to Vytautas. And also you mentioned here now the social Europe. Now, Magda, you are the last one, please.
Yes, so I just wanted to say that for us in Euro-Regional Baltic, any initiative that involves this cross-border activities and the initiative where we have the, let's say, the usual suspects, so the actors that are already engaged in the program and the newcomers coming in, any initiative like that is very important because we see that they bring the added value, they build the trust between the citizens and the institutions. And well, this will help us, to diminish the cross-border obstacles that we still face in our region.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you for this. Now, please stay online here, because now I will give the floor to Gosia, and we will look at what questions have come in. Please, Gosia, please.
Yes, our attendees were very much active on the chat, in the chat room. And the first question, which comes from region Kalmar, is regards biodiversity. So the question is, what about challenges on biodiversity as a cross-border challenge? It is seen as a major challenge in the near future for the Kalmar region. So what about other regions? Could you tell us more if the biodiversity is would be the main focus for your regions as well? If Egon, if you could refer to that maybe.
I think that the cooperation about the regions, I have no idea. Just now, I have no idea to make it better, but we have to make a better connection between us in the daily work. So that's what I look forward to.
Mm-hmm. So you're focusing more on cooperation, but do you think biodiversity could be the platform for the joint cooperation in your region?
Yes. The university is very active in the Interreg programs, so I can't see why they sorry. I see them as a good player in the game of they have a special office to make the cooperation. They know it from their others cooperation things about the university's daily work and so on. So they were a very grateful partner to have sometimes.
Okay, thank you. And I see the question from Pomorskie region from Marta Paradowska. The question is directed to the panelists from the countries who mentioned the importance of the priority 1, Smarter Europe. So what kind of activities do you see in the next South Baltic Programme to be implemented in the context that there are other programs managed directly by European Commission, like Horizon, COSME, which has better conditions to support such activities? How to attract the beneficiaries and to be competitive with other programs with quite bigger budget comparing with South Baltic Programme? Yeah, the question is quite loud. Could anyone of you, would you like to reflect on that? So the Smarter Europe in are there, as I understand the question properly, what can South Baltic do within Smarter Europe in comparison to these bigger players as Horizon and COSME? Do you see the field for working, field for work for South Baltic?
Maybe I can start. It will be a hard task for the South Baltic Programme because, as it was mentioned by Johanna, the administrative procedures are not so it's not encouraging the small and medium enterprises, which till now they are not direct beneficiaries. They can be indirect beneficiary of this program, rather target group than partners, because the project partner, these are only institutions from the supporting business, so like agencies or clusters, etc. Directly the money goes to such institutions, not directly to the small and business enterprises. They usually would like to have very easy procedures. Not at the moment, we are not so familiar with this, and they rather choose Horizon or national flows, national programs, which are for them, especially for them. Thank you.
Well, yes, that's true. It might happen. The bigger programs might be more attractive for such activities. Yeah, indeed. And we heard that almost all region representatives mentioned circular economy as a important issue for the region. My question, maybe to you, Vytautas, would be that, do you think that circular economy could be kind of horizontal objective for the future program?
Yes, I think it's very important, particularly for the, how to say, the circular economy. It's very sensitive for the big cities and surrounding areas. I think each situation has a very unique probably solution. But if to speak generally in Klaipėda region, in Klaipėda city situation, no doubt, just how to say, what we understand circular economy, it's at first finding administrative tools to find the common solutions. As you know, we had established our association Klaipėda region, and all together we try to discuss how to say the common problems. But just 2 weeks before, we agreed with 4 municipalities, how to say, with the shore of Baltics, that we have a lot very similar, maybe not a circular economy challenges, but how to say, very concentrated challenges connected to the Baltic Sea with environment things, protection things like that. So maybe it's not directly circular economy issues, but anyway, it's a common solutions. So we understand that this circular economy or circular to say system, if to say it, it's just like a way, but not a very concrete solutions in how to say in each district. So we see it's a very big perspective, but the most important thing is we must look for the common solutions, for the common efforts, to focus them for the same tasks. I think it's the best way to have an efficient collaboration and be in one big cycle, but not in a bubble.
Yes, thank you. Magda, you mentioned the need for attracting newcomers to the program. And from our experience, we see that for already almost 8 years of South Baltic Programme implementation, we see the problem with that. And do you think, as you mentioned already, the need for involving NGOs as well, among others, do you think NGOs have enough capacity to implement 3 years project, 3 years cooperation projects where you need to be on there for the whole time?
Well, definitely yes. And I've been engaged in NGO sector for around 10 years in Poland now, and I've met so many fantastic NGOs and civil society organizations in my region, but also in other South Baltic regions. And I can see that their daily work, the way they operate, the way they run the operations for their beneficiaries, this is something that is exactly what the program needs. The thing is that they do not see how to enter the program for many reasons, and then the program would definitely benefit from their knowledge and expertise, because in so many cases I can see that the civil society organizations, the NGOs, they are experts. They are even far bigger experts than really some of us on the program level. But what I mean by that is that they really get down to the business. They know how to operate within their thematic areas. So including them would be a huge benefit for the program mostly. So I would say that it's like our obligation to actually reach out to them and to prepare some favorable conditions for them to join the projects. Because, especially the NGOs and civil society organizations, they are usually used to apply for grants on national level, on local level. The question is whether they have the capacities to apply for a grant on on interregional level, and whether they see the opportunities that it poses. Because for us, when we talk with the organizations, we always tell them, you're an expert in your field. Wouldn't you like to share your expertise with others in Swedish regions or Klaipėda region or German regions that are a part of the program? And we say not only like to transfer the knowledge and best practice from them to you, to your organization, but also to share your expertise, because you have something that you can be proud of, and the way you work on daily basis is something to, like, you know, to brag and look for joint activities. So I would say we should really encourage them to be a part of the program in the future. And there was also some discussion in the chat I saw about this, you know, advance payments and things like that. Yes, financial difficulties are one of the major factors why NGOs and civil society organizations do not engage, but it's also about raising awareness among them that they are very welcome in this cross-border cooperation program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I see the challenge for the architects of the future program to make it possible for NGOs to take part in it, to design this structures, this financial possibilities as advance payments to attract such NGOs, as you mentioned. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I see that there is an agreement, support words to what you say from our attendees. Yes, we have a comment about in regards to this question, to this comparison of South Baltic to other programs, that Interreg is more of implementation and measures than other, which is directed to protected areas like life or IP, or research as horizon. Yeah, with small possibilities to measure or implementation. Yeah, that's correct. And we have other question that what can be done to make cooperation even more successful? Yeah, all of you mentioned this administrative burden, and also the need to involve newcomers. Do you see any other obstacles for the cooperation across the borders? What can we do at the stage of designing the new program to make it even more successful? Johanna, could you maybe reflect on that? Do you have any ideas how we could do better?
Yeah, well, as Niels said, I'm pretty young, so I haven't been in the program before. But I think, yes, as Magda mentions, I think bringing Europe closer to citizens so they know about these programs and the opportunities that exists, I think that would make it more successful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Johanna, you mentioned innovations as driving force for this environmental measures, this green development. Do you think the future program should be focused on innovative solutions? Should that be on the main focus?
Yeah, I think especially innovations connected to bio innovation and new energy solutions, because I think that is only through innovation and that we can keep our good economy and still do a transition towards a greener Europe. As well as like nature and culture tourism that could use innovation to new ways of experiences and tourism. So I think that innovation could play a big part in the coming program.
Yes, great. Thanks for that feedback. I can. I see another question. Yeah, maybe I would direct it to Henrik. In your opinion, Henrik, what is crucial for future cooperation from region's perspective? Yeah, having your Wismar perspective, the experience gained in your projects. So what would be the crucial for future cooperation? Any ideas for that? Henrik, now you are unmuted.
Yeah. So I think the very important thing to get a successful cooperation is that you have certain contact points or contact partners. So they have experience in doing projects, so it's easier to apply for a project, for instance, and they have a certain network, but they can connect, for instance, companies or universities together with municipalities. So I think crucial for cooperation is a really good network to create successful projects.
Great, thank you for the words. I see no other questions in the chat, so we are a bit ahead of schedule, but I think we can close this part of the webinar. So thank you, dear panelists, for indicating all the preferences and thematic priorities for the future program. As it was already mentioned, the Joint Programming Committee already works hard to create financing opportunities which meets your expectations. Discussion about the future is now very much interesting and on our schedule. And having in mind all the great results of Interreg, which we heard about today, we would like to hear from Mr. Sławomir Demkowicz-Dobrzański, coordinator for international relations from Kronenberg region, who is very much experienced in the Interreg cooperation and especially South Baltic Programme, to inspire us for this future cooperation. Sławek, please.
Thank you very much. To inspire seems to be a very difficult job to do, I think. I think we've already today have heard a very good and very concrete example of projects implemented in the South Baltic Programme that have brought about positive and lasting changes in the area. And you also have heard local, regional and national perspectives that are voiced in the programming, in the current programming process before the new implementation period. So I will not talk about specific objectives of the program, not about the specific activities, but instead try to focus on some historical and current background that I believe is very important, and I believe it's something that we should also consider in our programming work. My name is Sławomir Demkowicz-Dobrzański, and I have been involved, as just been said, in the cooperation in the Baltic Sea region 17 years now, and among others within the cooperation for Euro-Region Baltic and Swedish Institute here in Sweden, but also being engaged in the South Baltic Programme bodies like steering and programming committees. In fact, together with my colleagues from the member regions in Euro-Region Baltic, I participated in a process that ultimately led to the establishment of the South Baltic Programme back in 2007. And that process was initiated by the cooperating members within Euro-Region Baltic that had then just adopted its cooperation strategy development program and had a very comprehensive consultation process with among its member regions, municipalities, NGOs, and private sector. So in a way, a missing component of that strategy was finance, how it started. Then the strong political support to the establishment of the new Interreg program was first offered by the Swedish regions, and then it was soon backed also by Polish and Danish partners. Shortly afterwards, the program area became extended also to German and Lithuanian regions to form a geography that we know today. The geography that generally, and with some exceptions, is aligned with the cooperation areas in the two Euro regions, Baltic and Pomerania. when I look back at the years before 2007, 2005-06, actually, it took countless meetings and discussions to convince the powers that be that a new Interreg program in the southeast corner of the Baltic Sea region is necessary, create necessary added value, both from the European perspective, but also from the perspective of individual regions. But those were very generous, I must say, times, and optimistic times. The 2004 EU enlargement did not only change geographical conditions for the cooperation in the region, but also re-energized existing networks. The enlargement infused enthusiasm and innovation into the cooperation landscape, encouraging new projects and original ideas. It also made relevant the question of how synergies can be created in a region characterized by a plethora of region-specific actors and a wide range of policies addressed. And one of the answers offered then and implemented is naturally the EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region, which over time has played an increasingly important role in the design and implementation of the South Baltic Programme, but also introduced a whole new approach, a whole new concept of transnational cooperation, a macro-regional strategy that is a policy framework which allows countries located in the same region to jointly tackle and find solutions to share. And this approach has since been followed in other transnational areas in the EU. But a lot has happened since 2007. Europe and the world have been affected by significant economic, political, social, and environmental developments. The 2008 economic crisis caused a nearly complete collapse of the financial system, averted only by enormous government bailouts. The crash has had lasting impact, depressed wages, among others, but also austerity and political instability. It also revealed the weaknesses of our common policies and even at times contradictory impact of cohesion policies. It seems that even today, 12 years later, we are living with the consequences. If I can mention one more development that is definitely important and definitely relevant today is, of course, the security. The EU faces security threats today from its east and south, and even an uncertain ally in the west. So the international system that European help build is being challenged externally by great power competition, but also internally by such processes as Brexit, Euroscepticism, and so-called retrospective feeling that globalization, national populism, tribalization, and building new walls through cultural exclusion and identity politics. One other development is the refugee crisis of 2015, and the crisis that definitely propelled these retrospective feelings and also challenged the core European values. So it seems that migration will remain in the future also a key challenge to the policies of the EU, raising fundamental questions about European societies, but also challenging the legitimacy of our system and increasing the political strength of our right. Moreover, challenges resulting from climate change have become even more pressing. Global warming has serious consequences for human health, biodiversity, ecosystems, and the goods and services they provide, as well as for many social and economic sectors, including agriculture, tourism, and energy production. Last but not least, Europe has been affected by a new worldwide pandemic, COVID-19, which has had it has caused yet another economic downturn. All this adds up to a pretty grim picture, you may say, and quite rightly, that the corona pandemic, which of course is far from over and whose long-term effects are yet to be known, has given the EU a chance to rethink its policy and financing model. So in the face of deepening economic hardships and political turbulence, the EU did not only revise its budget to include the deployment and development of corona vaccine, but also enabled the change in the multi-annual financial framework, which has now been extended with a wholly new recovery plan for Europe and 750 billion euros, the next generation EU package. What's equally important, I think, is that our societies and communities have shown a certain degree of resilience, maybe not perfect, maybe not complete, but still, and the ability to relearn to do things in a different way, which, for example, can aid our efforts in mitigating the consequences of climate. This annual event for the South Baltic is a very good example. So today, we and Interreg are celebrating 30 years of what is, I think, become the EU flagship for cooperation across borders at regional and national level to the benefit of all EU citizens. Today, Interreg includes 60 cross-border programs, 4 inter-regional cooperation programs, 15 transnational cooperation programs, 10 cooperation programs with accession countries, and 15 cooperation programs between EU and neighboring countries. And territorial cohesion remains a key objective for Interreg programs. It is now complemented with the concept of functional areas that the EU Commission is promoting for the coming programming period 2021-27. And even though the socioeconomic and SWOT analyses drafted by the experts currently working with the new program show that functional areas in the South Baltic are not so prominent, many, including Interact, point out that the European political geography is changing with the emergence and strengthening of these new functional areas. These functional geographies, claim the experts, require better governance structures as in their interdependencies and mismatch between administrative and functional areas grows. The territorial cohesion is also affected by technology. The technology that is creating the so-called society of networks, a challenge that somehow also emergence of how to reinvent democracy. And in this context, promoting the improvement of the quality of local and regional governments, I think, prioritized. Also considering the new political challenges and more complex geography. So that's a few thoughts that I have gathered. Reflecting, as I said, the historical and the current and the changing background of the processes that other panelists have talked about today in more detail with specific policy objectives and program priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Sławek, and thank you for this nice review of the program history. And also thank you for mentioning the European strategy for Baltic Sea region. The South Baltic Programme, by its nature, is a part of the strategy, and our projects, most of them, naturally, they fill in the strategy goals. And yeah, the program is kind of the tool for making the strategy work and achieving its goals. Thank you very much for that once again. Our online event is going to an end, but before the official closure, I would like you to fill in the evaluation survey. As you know, this is our first online event, first webinar, and we are very much curious what you think about it. What is your opinion about the what we did today? As you can see in the chat, there is a link to the survey. Please fill it in straight after we close the meeting. Yes, and for the next annual event, we very much count to meet you face to face and to have the possibility to shake each other's hands and to have a chat, to talk with all of you. And for the official closure of the event, I would like to ask Dominika to say a goodbye words.
Thank you, Gosia. Before I will close it officially, I have one more issue to be tackled. So as a follow-up of today's event, we are going to visualize and promote the exhibition based in the Bornholm Museum. So it will be published in the program, on the program website and Facebook account. As we cannot go to the museum due to the restrictions and the situation with the pandemic, we would like to show you a short slideshow. How does it look like? And also, I would like to thank to the Bornholm museums that they host the exhibition celebrating 30 years of Interreg. I hope that in the coming days, the visitors will be able to see this exhibition. So just to show you how does it look like, I would like to put your attention to the slideshow presented by Mate. So for a few seconds, please look at that. Okay, as a final comment, I would like to only say that we have around 170 participants today. And I would like to thank our guests for participation, panelists for their engagement, interesting, important discussions, and sharing points of view of the regions. My special greetings I would like to pass to Niels Chresten Andersen and Jakob Bjering Hansen, as well to the Joint Secretariat team. I have to mention Katarzyna Sempowowicz-Lipska, our communication officer, who is heart and brain of this event. Thank you, Kasia. So thank you all for cooperation. The webinar is now officially closed. Thank you, and hope that next year we will be able to see each other in person.